Welcome back to another Google AdMob tutorial. This is the second and final part of our two-part series on apex.txt. In this video, we will be exploring apex.txt in depth, including how you can go about interpreting and crawling your apex.txt file. First, we will show you how you can interpret your apex.txt file statuses in AdMob. Then, we will establish ways to ensure that your apex.txt file can be crawled. Lastly, we will show you how to use Firebase Hosting Solution to establish your developer website that is required to host your apex.txt file. Now, let's dive in. It is critical that the apex.txt file is implemented correctly. There are three different statuses indicated by three different colors on AdMob. When you see a green status, it means that AdMob has crawled and verified your apex.txt file. In other words, everything is all good to go. When you see a gray status, this means that no apex.txt file is found for this app. There could be several reasons for this. Your app hasn't been registered with Google Play or the App Store. The developer website is missing in the Google Play or the App Store listing for this app. The developer website listed in Google Play or the App Store for this app does not have a valid URL. Do check for typos to ensure that the apex.txt file is not a subdirectory. To troubleshoot, please verify all the above steps are implemented correctly. If you don't have a developer website, follow along in the next section and learn how you can do so with Firebase Hosting Solution at no cost. When you see a red status with an exclamation mark, this indicates that your apex.txt file is found but your publisher ID is missing. To fix this, you'll need to update the apex.txt file to include your publisher ID. You can find your publisher ID by clicking Settings in the sidebar. It is located in the Account Information section in the AdMob UI. You can also copy and paste your personalized code snippet, which includes your publisher ID from AdMob, into your apex.txt file. If you have trouble finding your code snippet, follow the steps mentioned in the first video under How can publishers implement apex.txt? How to ensure your apex.txt file can be crawled. Once an apex.txt file is set up on your developer's domain, the Google crawler will do the following. Attempt to crawl the file. Parse the contents of the file to determine the seller IDs that are authorized to monetize your inventory. One common issue developers have faced is unsuccessful crawling. This is likely due to a missing setup for their developer website or the fact that they are using invalid URLs. To ensure that this doesn't happen, ensure that you have included a developer website in the correct field in Google Play or the App Store listing for the desired app. Make sure the developer website listed in Google Play or the App Store for the desired app is a valid URL. To investigate whether you have a valid URL and publish your file correctly, verify that you can see your file's content when you access the apex.txt URL in your web browser. If you can see the file in your web browser, it is likely that crawlers will successfully find it. Check for typos and ensure that the apex.txt file is not on a subdomain. View the details about AdMob's attempts to crawl your apex.txt file in your AdMob account. To help you fix apex.txt related issues in a timely manner, you can check the status of your file and get debugging information by heading to the apex.txt page. Within 24 hours, AdMob will crawl and verify your apex.txt file after a change is made. Next, we will share 6 troubleshooting steps you can take to ensure that your apex.txt file can be crawled successfully. Number 1. Confirm that your file is not temporarily unavailable. If a previously seen apex.txt file is unavailable on a subsequent recrawl, the previously seen entries will be purged if the response is a hard 404 error. This refers to a page that doesn't actually exist, or also known as HTTP 404 status, or retained for up to 5 days if the response is a soft 404 error. This refers to a real page return for a URL that doesn't actually exist. This is known as a HTTP 200 status or a 500 server error. Number 2. Confirm that the file is reachable from the root domain. Apex.txt crawling will start at the root domain. In accordance with the apex.txt specification, crawlers will look for files at the following URL patterns: https://apex.txt, or http hostname/apex.txt. So make sure to publish the file on your developer website correctly. For more details about this, check out the resources linked in the description box down below. Number 3. Ensure crawling is not disallowed by robots.txt. The apex.txt file may be ignored by crawlers if the robots.txt file on a domain disallows one of the following: crawling of the URL path on which an apex.txt file is posted. For example1.com, an apex.txt file is posted on example1.com/apex.txt. The following lines are included in example1.com/robots.txt. The apex.txt file will be ignored by crawlers that respect the robots.txt standard. You can modify the robots.txt file as follows to allow crawling of the file. Other approaches are also possible. Option 1. Modify disallowed path. Option 2. Explicitly allow apex.txt. This depends on crawler support for the allow robots.txt directive. Next, user agent of the crawler. For example2.com, number 1, an apex.txt file is posted on example2.com/apex.txt. Number 2, the following lines are included in example2.com/robots.txt. Number 3, the apex.txt file will be ignored by the Google crawler. 4, ensure file is returned with an HTTP 200 OK status code. While a request for an apex.txt file may return the contents of the file in the response body, if the status code in the response header indicates the file was not found, example, status code 404, the response will be ignored. The file will be considered non-existent. Make sure the file has an HTTP 200 OK status code. To obtain an HTTP 200 OK status, ask your webmaster to run the following shell commands. Replace mydomain.com with your domain. To confirm that the ads.txt file can be reached, run the following. The contents of the ads.txt file should be returned as seen in the browser when you navigate to mydomain.com/ads.txt. To confirm that the ads.txt file can be found by the Google crawler, run the following. If an invalid non-ads.txt response is returned, this indicates that your server or Content Distribution Network (CDN) is returning an invalid response when the Google crawler attempts to fetch your ads.txt file. Number 5. Ensure that there are no formatting errors or invalid characters in the file. Formatting errors, such as invalid whitespace characters, may be difficult to detect but can make an apex.txt file difficult to parse by a crawler. This may therefore result in a file being ignored. To prevent this from happening, avoid copying and pasting apex.txt entries from a rich text editor. We recommend using a plain text editor. You can also check for invalid UTF-8 characters in your apex.txt file using a hex editor. Number 6. Make an apex.txt file reachable via both HTTP and HTTPS. The Google crawler attempts to crawl all apex.txt files on both HTTP and HTTPS. However, a 404 or a 404x response causes previously crawled entries to be purged, even though an apex.txt file is crawled via HTTP. Therefore, if crawling via HTTPS returns a 404 or 404x, the previously crawled entry will be purged. Please ensure the apex.txt is accessible via both HTTP and HTTPS. There are two major errors that developers will encounter while setting up the apex.txt file. Firstly, crawl errors occur either due to the file format or file placement where the apex.txt file cannot be found and crawled. Secondly, typos and formatting issues. These are basic errors in schema or other easy-to-catch small errors. If you have a website that disallows the uploading of your apex.txt file at the root level, in other words, having a site built and hosted by a site generation service, you can use Firebase hosting to host your apex.txt file at no cost. Firebase offers a free, fast, and reliable way to host your apex.txt file with your own custom domain or on Firebase projects' free subdomains, such as web.app, and firebaseapp.com. For in-depth how-tos on setting up Firebase hosting solution for apex.txt, please check out the developer's guide that can be found in the description box down below. And that concludes our two-part apex.txt video series. To summarize, we have shown you how to interpret apex.txt file statuses on Google AdMob, how to get a successful crawl of your apex.txt file, and how to use Firebase hosting solution in case you need it. But before you jump off, make sure to check out the resources included in the description box below. It includes Firebase hosting solution documentation and more FAQs about apex.txt implementation. Thank you for watching Google AdMob tutorials. For more best practices and tips on how you can grow your app further, be sure to subscribe to the Google AdMob channel. See you next time!